why Joe Biden's sexual assault doesn't matter.
Mr. Reagan.
It's just, but you gotta, I mean, we gotta reassure, look, I think we're gonna do very well in places that for example, last night, I think we're gonna do well. There's during World War II, where Roosevelt came up with a thing that was totally different than he called it the World War II. He had and in order to avoid those very high numbers, we have to do at least several things. One, we have to depend on what the president's going to do right now. And first of all, he has to wait till the cases before anything happens. Look, the whole idea is he's got to get in place things that were shortages of.
This is why the sexual assault accusation against Joe Biden doesn't matter. Because Joe Biden is clearly senile. He's so often incoherent that every interview he does is relentlessly ridiculed. Those interviewing him often look like emergency medical technicians trying desperately to salvage the interview. So if you haven't heard, Joe Biden was accused of a sexual assault the other week by a former staffer by the name of Alexandra Tara Reid. It's actually a shame about her name because everybody's going to think of Tara Reid, the actress, when they hear that name. Funny coincidence, but obviously this is a different woman. This apparently happened in 1993, so quite a long time ago. Here's a picture of Alexandra Tara Reid at the time. Now, before I get into this particular accusation, I want to step back and remind everybody about all the absurd, frankly, insane accusations against Donald Trump. Like the woman who claimed that Donald Trump assaulted her in Bergdorf Goodman.
So you say you were in Bergdorf Goodman.
I was coming out of Bergdorf's. And so we went up the escalator. We went to the lingerie department. It was empty. There was nobody there. There was nobody on the whole floor, frankly. So let's go in the dressing room, walked in, and the minute I was in there, he shut the door and pushed me up against the wall and bang my head.
Role play took place in the dressing room of Bergdorf's. While she was trying on lingerie, I would burst in.
Hold on. But I think most people think of rape as it is a violent assault. It is not.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
Let's take a short break.
Think of the fantasies.
We're just going to take a quick break. If you can stick around, we'll talk more on the other side.
You're fascinating to talk to.
And also the ridiculous accusation against Brett Kavanaugh. You'll remember the accusation that he jumped on a girl when he was 14 and didn't do anything sexually to her at all. If you remember those accusations, there was one word that was constantly shouted by Democrats: credible. None of the accusations against Donald Trump or Brett Kavanaugh were at all credible, despite the left shouting the word constantly.
Christine Blasey Ford was credible. She was totally credible.
She was entirely credible.
Very credible.
I believe that Dr. Ford was credible.
The women accusing these men were Democrats. They were actively trying to gain notoriety, get on TV, sell books, or just take down Trump or Kavanaugh. These women were transparently biased. They were fakes. But Joe Biden's accuser, this is a different story. This woman is a lifelong Democrat. She was a Biden staffer, and she is a loyal and devoted leftist. Tara was interviewed by a podcast host by the name of Katie Halper recently, and she told her story. Now, there is no way that my description of her story could ever be as convincing as her own words, so I'm just going to play for you that segment of the podcast. Now, I have to warn you, it's chilling. But first, before that, yes, I know it's tactless and awful, but I have to survive somehow, folks. First, I have to sell you something. The Patriot Charger. When I got this, I originally just thought that it was an ordinary charger, but this is no ordinary charger. It's sort of like a spy gadget from the 60s. It's like a full survival kit in one, and I've always wanted something kind of like this. So let's say you're stranded, it's dark out, there's a flashlight. You hold that button down and a flashlight comes up. There's different modes. It gets brighter. There's this flashing red thing, but it's also got this razor blade right here. So if you get trapped in your seatbelt, you can cut it right off. So if your car goes into the water, you won't be trapped and drown. And then there's my favorite thing. Inside the phone charger bit, there is this little spike. And this is actually really sharp. But if your car is going down in the water, right? smash the window with this thing. My girlfriend Valeria just got a car. She's a new driver, never driven in her life. She's 23 years old, but she's now driving to work every day, or she was before the quarantine. So I'm so happy that they sent me this, because this is gonna be in her car, and this will one day save her life if she's ever in a situation like that where she's stuck in her car, if the car's burning, or if the car is in the water going down, she will be able to get out. And I'm very, very happy that they sent me this. Thank you, Patriot Charger. Very cool product. Let me go ahead and read what they have written here for me to read. In case you're trapped due to flooding or fire, use the seatbelt cutter or the window breaker to free yourself. Patriot Charger is always within reach because it plugs into your car cigarette lighter, and it doubles as a car phone charger and a portable power bank. I didn't actually know that, so I guess it has a battery in here, so you can take it with you, and it's sort of like an extra charger that you can have. That's very cool. Give the gift of peace of mind to your loved ones and take advantage of the 15% off discount by clicking on the link in the description below and using the promo code Reagan15. If I didn't get one for this promotion, I would certainly buy one myself. And in fact, I might just buy one for the rest of my family, because why not? These are really cool. All right, click the link in the description below and use Reagan15.
He just said, "Hey, come here, Tara." And then I handed him the thing, and he greeted me. He remembered my name. And then we were alone, and it was the strangest thing. There was no like exchange, really. He just had me up against the wall. And I was wearing like a skirt, business skirt, but I wasn't wearing stockings. It was kind of a hot day that day, and I was wearing heels. And I remember my legs had been hurting from the marble, of the Capitol, like walking. And so I remember that kind of stuff. I remember like I was wearing a blouse, and he just had me up against the wall, and the wall was cold. It happened all at once. The gym bag, I don't know where it went. I handed it to him, it was gone. And then his hands were on me and underneath my clothes. And and then he went down my skirt, but then up inside it. And he penetrated me with his fingers, whatever. And he was kissing me at the same time, and he was saying something to me. He said several things, and I can't remember everything he said. I remember a couple of things. I remember him saying first, before, like as he was doing it, "Do you want to go somewhere else?" And then him saying to me, when I pulled away, he got finished doing what he was doing, and I kind of was pulled back, and he said, "Come on, man, I heard you liked me." And it's that phrase stayed with me because I kept thinking what I might have said. And I can't remember exactly if he said I thought or if I heard, but it's like he implied like that I had done this. Like, I don't know. And for me, it was like everything shattered in that moment, because I knew like we were alone. It was over, right? He wasn't trying to do anything more, but I looked up to him. He was like my father's age. He was this champion of women's rights in my eyes. And I couldn't believe it was happening. It seemed surreal. And I just felt sick, because when he pulled back, he looked annoyed, and he said something else to me that I don't want to say. And then he said, I must have looked shocked, and he grabbed me by the shoulders. I don't know how I looked, but I must have looked something, because he grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, "You're okay. You're fine. You're okay. You're fine." And then he walked away, and he went on with his day. And what I remember next is being in the Russell building, like where the big windows are, and the stairs by myself. And my body, I was shaking everywhere and it was cold all of a sudden. And I don't know, I felt like I was shaking just everywhere. And I was trying to grasp what had just happened and what I should do or what I should say. But I knew it was bad, because he was so angry. Like when he left, like I could feel, how when someone's angry, they don't necessarily to say anything. Like he smiles when he's angry, and you can just feel it emanating from him. Like,
do you want to share that thing that you said you said like I don't want to say what he said, that thing he said to you?
Yeah, I guess I could. Yeah, there was something he said that I didn't want to say, and I didn't want to say it because it's the thing that stays in my head over and over. Like, and it's a thing that kind of stayed with me over the years. But he said when he had me against the wall after I pulled away, and he had said, "Hey, come on, I heard you liked me." And I knew he was angry right after he took his finger. He just like pointed at me, and he said, "You're nothing to me." And then he just looked at me, and he goes, "You're nothing, nothing." And then I must have reacted. And I think he only said it twice. But I just heard the word "nothing." And I must have reacted, because that's when he took me by the shoulders and he said, you're okay, you're fine, you're okay. But then afterwards, like, it kept replaying in my head. And like last April, when all that stuff came out, I got really, really sad about it. And the thing that I remember most, almost more than the assault itself, was just being told I was nothing. And he was right. That's how people treated me. That's how office treated me. And I have no platform. I am no one. And to him, I'm nothing. So, yeah.
So, yeah, the word credible never sounded so appropriate. Shockingly, the left isn't screaming, believe her, as they did with Brett Kavanaugh. I mean, I just don't understand that. It's almost like they've got a double standard, or maybe like they're hypocritical. But no, couldn't be that. They're the party of feminism. They always believe the woman, right? That said, they don't seem to be defending Joe Biden too passionately either. And I think that's a testament to just how credible this woman is. Now, I do want to say that credible doesn't mean that much to me personally. Biden is a very famous man, and this woman might have mental issues, or she might have some kind of vendetta, or she might just want fame or money. There are a million reasons why we should be skeptical of these kinds of accusations, and why men should indeed be presumed innocent until proven guilty. I think leftists are, for the first time, figuring that out now.
Because I believe that even though we should believe women, but that does not mean at the expense of not giving men their due process and investigating situations.
I like that.
It's got to be fair in both directions. And I just don't feel comfortable throwing away a decent man that I've known for 15 years.
Yep.
They're calling me hypocritical, and saying that I'm a fake feminist and all of this stuff. And I sent the Me Too tweet over 2 years ago. I never thought that it would be something that was going to destroy innocent men, right? Like, we don't want that to happen either.
But there is a real problem with this double standard. The story that really went viral about this was New York Times again. I mean, they just keep losing journalistic integrity like with every hour of the day. It's crazy. They wrote a story today, or they published a story today, where they were talking about whether or not this woman is credible, or whether this story has any kind of merit, whether we should believe it. And this is what they wrote, and it's just everybody's going crazy because of this. No other allegation about sexual assault surfaced in the course of our reporting, nor did any former Biden staff corroborate Reid's allegation. We found no pattern of sexual misconduct by Biden beyond hugs, kisses, and touching that women previously said made them uncomfortable. Let me read some of the comments here, because this is pretty funny. So that particular tweet was shared all over Twitter and absolutely ridiculed because it's insane. So the New York Times actually took it down. And this woman here, Hillary Agro, she writes, delete your rape apologist tweets all you want, but screenshots are forever. This guy, Leto Joker Biden, writes, in other words, no pattern of sexual misconduct except for all the sexual misconduct we found. The New York Times also said in their article, a spokeswoman for Biden said the allegation was false. Okay. Aldous Huxley's ghost responded to that. He said, man, oh man, Brett Kavanaugh is going to be pissed when he finds out that's all it takes to get allegations like this dismissed by the press. Well, that and a giant D after your name. And a lot of people posted hilarious memes and other brilliant comments. The gist of this story is that the New York Times has decided that they are going to try to defend Joe Biden here. They're going to try to make the story go away, try to dismiss the woman. Joe Biden, there's nothing to see here. Joe Biden, this is just one accusation. Let's just like pretend that Joe Biden never does anything creepy ever. We didn't find anything that Joe Biden did that ever seemed creepy or wrong ever, except for all the stuff that he did that was creepy and wrong. But let's not talk about that. It's just laughable. It's just laughable what the New York Times is saying here. But here's the thing. This is the really sad part about all of this. I don't care that much. I don't. I don't care about this for the same reason that I no longer care about Joe Biden's lifetime of corruption. I mean, I do care in the sense that if this woman is telling the truth, I have a great deal of sympathy for her, and I think that she should get justice. I care in the sense that we should know the truth about the Bidens and their corruption, and you know, we shouldn't let such things happen in our government ever again with anyone else. But I don't care with regard to this election, and that's because of this.
It's just I really in creating that
Now, originally, I was going to make a Joe Biden, top 10 stupidest moments video, but Joe Biden has become so incomprehensible in so many interviews that it's become just this constant stream of incoherence. It's pointless to categorize his gaffes now. His candidacy has become one giant never-ending gaffe. Joe Biden is possibly the worst candidate I've ever seen running for any public office in America ever. I've never heard of a candidate running for any office who can't compose a coherent sentence. That is bizarre. But somebody like this running for the president of the United States of America, that is bewildering. I'm not 100% sure how the Democrats got here, but they're here. I know the DNC behind the scenes likes to control things, but how did they convince the majority of Democrats voting in the nation to vote for Joe Biden?
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
Do they want to lose? I feel like this is all some kind of big April Fool's joke, and they're going to, at the very last minute, shout, "Just kidding, Biden never got any votes. Buttigieg is our guy." I mean, that's what Tucker seems to think. He's apparently thinks that Hillary is going to slide in at the last minute, or Andrew Cuomo, or somebody like this. But I don't think so. I think that this is real life. The Democrat voting populace really did vote in a man suffering from senility, or some kind of age-related mental degradation. I can only assume that Biden was just coherent enough for just long enough that he was able to trick Democrat voters into thinking that he was up for the job of president. My brother came up with a great slogan for a series of Trump campaign ads: 80 is too old. When Donald Trump leaves office, he's going to be 78 years old. If elected, do you know how old Joe Biden will be when he takes office? Also 78 years old. That means that old Joe plans to stay in office until he's 86 years old. The average American lifespan is 76 years old. So if Joe Biden were to serve 2 full terms, 8 years, he would leave office at 86 years old. To illustrate this, I typed into YouTube the words 86 years old, and here's the video that popped up.
I'm supposed to feel sorry for that. I don't.
Investigators say Sunday afternoon, Adrienne Terry was on surveillance video. She allegedly grabbed Bernice's purse from her wheelchair and later tossed it out like a piece of trash.
She wants to hurt me, and the don't even know me. I hope that they beat her. Some of the women in prison beat her every day for long as she's in there.
Sorry, I just had to put that in there because this lady is hilarious. Honestly, she'd probably be a better president than Joe Biden. Let me put it this way. Joe Biden is older than the last 4 American presidents. He's older than Donald Trump, he's older than Obama, he's older than George Bush, and he's even older than Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton was president in 1993. That's almost 30 years ago. That's before my girlfriend was born. Probably shouldn't have said that. But for me, Joe Biden's mental decline is bittersweet. It's sweet because Trump's going to be president for 4 more years. No question. Sweet. But it's bitter because I put a lot of time and effort into my 2 Joe Biden corruption videos. And now they're basically worthless. I expected that at some point during the general election debates, I'd reissue those videos in pieces reminding everybody of Biden's corruption. I probably still will. But will they have an impact? Will they even matter? What I'm saying is that I'm an egocentric YouTuber who thinks of nothing but himself. And Biden's accelerated mental degradation is affecting me negatively. And that's not cool. But I suppose it's a price I'm willing to pay to see Donald Trump elected to the presidency for 4 more years. But we can't rest on our laurels assuming that President Trump will win. We have to go out and we have to vote. I, for one, am excited to do so. Let's keep America great, people. And remember, it's not that our liberal friends are ignorant. It's just that they know so much. That isn't so. Good night.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight. Thank you very much.
Those who would trade our freedom for the soup kitchen of the welfare state have told us they have a utopian solution of peace without victory. They call their policy accommodation. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.